As many of you are probably aware by now, Aaron Swartz, the founder of Reddit, has committed suicide at the age of 26. He was found having hanged himself in his New York home. Now, the family and a friend and a mentor of Aaron Swartz, all of them, have come out saying that they believe that the U.S. government and the actions that they have put him through were partially responsible for his suicide. They believe it was government pressure on him for certain legal matters that caused the situation to become bad enough for him to commit suicide. This is the accusation that they are making. Now, what they're referring to is that in 2011, he faced the charges of improperly downloading more than 4 million articles from JSTOR, an online system for academic journals. Now, what Swartz was doing was arguing for transparency. JSTOR costs more than $50,000 annually for university subscriptions. Now, court records do show that the federal government believed he had committed wire fraud via computer fraud and unlawfully obtained information from a protected computer. Now, JSTOR actually ultimately backed Swartz, backing him up. I'm not sure exactly what the extent of backing him up was, but in the end, they did actually back him. And the family alleges that MIT and the attorney's office contributed to his suicide. Decisions made by officials in the Massachusetts U.S. Attorney's Office and MIT contributed to his death. The U.S. Attorney's Office pursued an exceptionally harsh array of charges, carrying potentially over 30 years in prison to punish an alleged crime that had no victims. Meanwhile, unlike JSTOR, MIT refused to stand up for Aaron and its own community's most cherished principles. Now, Swartz's family describes him as a man who was firmly committed to social justice, and he helped to defeat an internet censorship bill that he used his prestigious skills as a programmer and technologist not to enrich himself, but to make the internet and the world a fairer, better place. Now, this is true. Reddit did have a large hand in defeating maybe even more than one of the fascist laws that did pop up recently. Now, Lawrence Lessig, a Harvard Law School professor who describes himself as a mentor and close friend of Swartz, took to Tumblr to express his own raw emotions regarding the situation. From the beginning, the government worked as hard as it could to characterize Aaron and what he did in the most extreme and absurd way. The property Aaron had stolen, we were told, was worth millions of dollars, with the hint and then suggestion that his aim must have been to profit from his crime. But anyone who says that there is money to be made in a stash of academic journals is either an idiot or a liar. It was clear what this was, yet our government continued to push it as if it had caught the 9/11 terrorists red-handed. Now, much of what the government did regarding this situation as it relates to Aaron Swartz is unknown, because a lot of these are in court documents and a lot of them are confidential. So it actually remains to be seen exactly what it has the government may or may not have actually did to Aaron Swartz. But given the past actions of the U.S. government surrounding anybody who tries to defeat any kind of legislation that would give the government more power, it would seem very likely, in my opinion, that the government certainly did contribute to it. And I would not put it past the U.S. government to do this to anyone who did end up standing in the way of its interests, or particularly when it comes to copyright or control of information. Now, all of this whole situation could have entirely been avoided if it were not for capitalism. If it were not these academic journals, expressions of thought, investigation into like all kinds of things for education, if this were not just made public domain that people could read and research at any time, none of this would have happened. A lot of this is just people wanting to make money off of academic journals. A lot of the students and professors who write these things aren't really concerned about making money. They're out to express their ideas and get their prestige by their adding to the pool of knowledge that exists in the world. These articles remaining de facto private property at a cost of $50,000 a year is just astounding. Ideas don't belong to people. Ideas, or particularly new discoveries in various fields, belong to the entire shared collective knowledge of the entire world. It is only through trying to monetize these, to prevent others from seeing them, is what led to this whole situation to begin with. I can't say that what Aaron Swartz, if what he did was illegal, was the right thing to do, but I believe that sharing knowledge with the entire world is the right thing to do. So it remains to be seen how much the U.S. government may actually be responsible for his suicide. But we don't really have all the information necessary to make a determination like that at this time, although I would not put it past the U.S. government to do something like this.